Hello, this is Doreen again with Renew Lasting Lifestyle Changes. And I just thought I'd cover another topic. I'm going to cover a little bit each and every day just to get warmed up with the business itself, but also discuss some health topics just so you have a general idea of what functional medicine and integrative and naturopathic medicine are. Um, Naturopathics focus on the holistic approach. Bottom line, starting with nutrition, of course, and all the nutritional pieces that come together that really help work the body out. I'm going to introduce several books that I have been reading through just on my leisure time when I have time to work on things. I just finished my 50th coaching session several weeks ago because it was required of me to at least get 50 health coaching sessions in with individuals, and most of the individuals that happened to come to me had autoimmune disease. There was another person that had the stage 2 breast cancer, and I learned a lot from her in that her condition and my condition seemed very similar, because what is the driving force of making things worse would be the refined sugar in both of our diseases. Um, First book is like a self-help book. I met this doctor, Dr. Joel Wallach, who's a naturopathic doctor out in Youngstown, Ohio. He actually resides out in California, but he has high-potent supplements that he sells um, that come from the other side of California that didn't get hit with the earthquake. So luckily, sometimes the delivery takes a little time to get out here in Ohio, but it's well worth it because he does reach a specific level for everybody's body weight. Um, Most other places that you try to get supplements from, even in these drugstores, will not have enough milligrams in them to cover everything that you're going to be facing with all the toxins that we're surrounded with. And it really helps and it works out well if your nutrition is also complementing these supplements. I'm not here to post any sales, but I just thought I'd let you keep that in mind, that nutrition is more than just about the plants and the vegetables, because they have to be grown in a very good soil that contains a lot of the minerals that plants can't have. They will never have minerals within them. But if there's not enough minerals in the soil, then it's going to be more difficult for the plants to grow with a great amount of nutrients. And it's also our method of cooking, like frying food, throwing it in the microwave, and all this other stuff takes out a lot of the nutrients, and it can overcook. We have the hydrogenated oils, and they don't like, this particular doctor doesn't like to cook with any oils, including the olive oil and the coconut oil. He said no oil, no salad oils, or anything like that when taking these supplements. And if you're staying away from all the gluten-based foods, the rye, barley, and oats, as well as, well, he didn't really mention conventional dairy, but I'm assuming they're also avoiding the processed meats, any meats that contain nitrates in them, the lunch meats, and things like that. If you're going for any kind of meat, it would need to be very high quality. And what I mean by organic is uh, farmers and individuals that owners that do not use growth hormones or antibiotics within their meats. I know that we're prescribed antibiotics for any type of infection, but the problem that I find with those is it's not only killing the bad bacteria, but it's also killing the good bacteria that you need to keep your body stable and keep your immunity system up. The last thing that needs to happen is to have your immunity system torn down. And that's not needed. You need it to build up so that you can carry all this energy. You don't want to be walking around feeling loss of energy all the time, because it's not a good feeling. I know myself from having that problem. So the first book here is called Let's Play Doctor by Dr. Joel Wallach. And it just goes through different types of chronic diseases that are popular out there right now and shows what type of deficiency is causing that particular disease to come about and how to piece things together and what to do about it. It's a very interesting, straightforward book, really helps out a lot with a lot of information. And there are some videos out there on YouTube. There's also some misinformation as well that do point out the history of how everything evolved, how cooking evolved, how technology changed a lot of different things in the processes that we do, because we're used to having everything more quick and fast and having all kinds of fast food. And that doesn't always give you the benefits of everything else. We're just looking, some people are now just looking for this magic pill to cure all these different diseases out there, including cancer. But I think that magic pill will never come. And there's all these organizations trying to raise funds, but something says that that will never happen because they're making a lot of money off of a lot of these medications. And what's interesting is some of the medications seem to be coming through that do have severe side effects that you probably don't want. You'd be too afraid to take it. And I understand how you feel because I was in the same boat for about the past 48 years of my life. And I wanted to make some kind of a positive change. But I also want to help out individuals, not only with health coaching them to reach smart, realistic goals in a shorter time frame, but to also get a little piece of education on what's true and what's a myth, what's really good and what's really bad, so that they're not sitting out there as mystified as and puzzled as I was for such a long time. Some things are very obvious, yes, in these chronic diseases I want to avoid, but not everything is. And the next book that I'm including is called The Evolution of Medicine. And the founder or the writer of this book is James Maskell. Now, he also owns another company. He's a founder of New Health, spelled Knew. And what New Health is trying to do is they have another healthcare plan option. It's not insurance, it's a cost-sharing savings plan where you would still pay a certain amount per month at a lower cost than what traditional healthcare insurance would be charging you. And this cost-sharing plan program is portable, meaning you don't have to be tied to a specific employer to get these benefits. What's beneficial about it is that you're able to directly go to the doctors of your choice without having to jump through a lot of loopholes. If you wanted to go to a doctor like a functional medicine doctor, an integrative doctor, you'd have more options. You wouldn't have to be tied straight into the Western medicine conventional world. And more information could be found on their New Health website to provide a little more detail on it, because I think there's also a family plan. There's also a single plan as well. There's no having to jump through hoops with these high deductibles, although there is a certain amount that you pay into your services, whatever health care plan whatever you're trying to take care of yourself with. There is a little bit more leeway with it. You'll get definitely benefits with it instead of being expected to pay more out of the pocket costs. Once you reach a specific level, you start to get reimbursed. It's a very interesting book, but it's mostly written for those who want to convert from the traditional conventional medicine to the functional medicine world. They want to upgrade their practice a little bit to help bridge the gap between doctors and the patients, because the patients, at a very understandable reason, are becoming reluctant and untrusting of specific doctors, because the current method is, of course, you're going to make the visit, you may be waiting there for 1 to 2 hours, and you may get 5 seconds with the doctor and they just give you a prescription. of a medication that may have tons of side effects, and then eventually down the road, you find yourself not only having one prescription, you have up to 8 prescriptions. And then all these different side effects, which probably bring on other problems that you really don't need. And then the last book, which I need to return eventually, is called Kitchen Table. And this book is written by a medical doctor, actually, who had suffered from a condition for most of her life. And she found a way to reverse the symptoms, or the symptoms were less severe than when she started out with by trying to go the conventional medicine route. She was able to find a better balance with natural-based foods that don't contain all these pesticides and other sprays on them, but also a way of being able to combine her nutrition and the supplements in such a way that she's living a very happy life instead of dreading it every day and having to go through all these aches and pains and suffering. Now, the other thing to probably discuss too is, why would this be a necessity, and why are they suddenly coming out with taking this approach, whereas before they were trying to forbid it or prevent the other doctors from coming in and doing any treatments? Well, for the longest time, there was a group that wanted to do all kinds of different technology to try to make things better. Sometimes God's plan is a little bit better than their plan is. When He provided us the food on the earth without trying to modify anything, that was the best option. But mankind decided to go forth and try to make everything faster, try to produce everything faster, and what ended up happening in the long run, we end up getting burned with all kinds of chronic illnesses just suddenly multiplying out of the blue. Well, some are very notorious, like cancer and type 2 diabetes and type 1 diabetes, but all these other diseases are coming in between because of all of this. Everybody trying to make all kinds of changes and everybody having different forms of opinion. I think now individuals like Dr. Mark Hyman and Dr. James, well, not a doctor, Mr. James Maskell and his wife are all trying to come together to solve the mystery behind chronic diseases. And I believe that there's some naturopathic doctors out there that want to embrace and reach out to individuals to try to explain that there is a better way, that there are other options, that you don't have to be inside this little conventional box. You have the freedom to be able to make other choices. And that's my message too, is you have the freedom to choose other treatments. You don't have to sit there and wait for the traditional cancer treatments, for example, to treat the chronic disease. There's other options, and yes, they're becoming more readily available and not as restricted as they were in the past. And government legislation is trying to turn things around in that fashion too. Like suddenly, CBD cannabis industry has suddenly now taken off. There's been change in laws for that, because before there was so much misinformation, maybe a little bit of competition trying to play down another type of treatment that may have been more natural. Some may have been trying to play that down so that they could have the floor, so to speak. It's kind of like a hostile takeover in a company sometimes when they want to downplay the competition. This is the approach that they will take. And bottom line is, for them, is making money. That's about all the information I wanted to share today, because I know it's overwhelming information at times. And next topic I'd probably like to cover is more of the meditation piece. I have been visiting different places that I've been in the past and trying to do like little 5-minute segment videos as to what's available out there. And I wanted to introduce like more of the names that are starting to become familiar and popular to me in our Cleveland, Ohio area. and even outside the state of Ohio, just in the United States. But I thought that I could cover just a little bit here because I promised to do a little introduction every single day on little pieces of information. And I wanted to switch it up a little bit every once in a while. Still enjoying the sunny weather while it lasts because I know we're getting some thunderstorms over the next couple of days. Until then, see you next time.